Maddie, and today I'm finding out about the weather. I wonder what the weather will be like today. I've got some water to drink, sunglasses because the sun's out, and an umbrella, which I can put up if it starts to rain. But why does it rain? And where does the rain come from? How does rain work? Let's find out. How does it work?
Clouds and rain.
Water is really, really important. We need fresh water to drink, and animals and plants need water so they can stay healthy too. You can see water in rivers, streams, and there's lots of salty water in the sea. But the really interesting thing is that water comes from up there in the sky as drops of rain. And the drops of rain that come from clouds are part of what's called the water cycle. Have you ever noticed there are all sorts of different shapes and sizes? What shapes can you see? That cloud looks like a jumping rabbit. Oh, and that cloud looks a bit like a duck. There are lots of different types of clouds, but there are 3 main cloud shapes, and they all have special names. These are cirrus clouds, and they look like little tufts or wisps of hair. These are stratus clouds. They're flat, low in the sky, and we tend to see them when it's foggy and misty. And my favourite, cumulus clouds. Cumulus clouds are fluffy and bumpy. I think they look a little bit like cotton wool. And we can also get rain clouds. A cumulus could grow into one of these, a cumulonimbus. These are huge, high in the sky, grey, and if you see a cumulonimbus, it's probably going to rain. But to find out how rain comes from clouds, I think we need to take a closer look. When the sun shines on the sea, the water heats up, turning the liquid water into a gas called water vapour. Water vapour is very light, so it rises up into the sky. This is called evaporation. As the water vapour reaches the sky, it cools down, turning into tiny water droplets. Clouds are made from lots and lots of water droplets. They bump into each other and stick together, getting bigger and bigger until they're too heavy and turn into rain. The rain lands on the ground and runs back into the rivers and sea, where the sun heats up the water and the whole cycle starts again. This is called the water cycle. The water cycle is incredible, isn't it? But did you know that we can measure the clouds so that we know when it might rain? It's called forecasting. The weather forecast tells us what the weather might be like in the next few days, and it uses special symbols like this, which means it's going to be sunny. This one means cloudy. And what do you think this one means? That's right, it means rain is coming. To find out where we get the information for a weather forecast, I've come to a weather centre. Forecasting the weather needs lots of information, and all of that is stored on a very, very powerful computer. It's so powerful, they call it a supercomputer. Oh, can you hear that whirring noise? That's the sound of lots of fans spinning round and round. The supercomputer works so hard that the electrics can get really hot, so the fan helps to cool them down. The computer's first job is to work out where the clouds are, and it does this using a cloud-based recorder. This sends an invisible beam of light into the sky. The beam then hits the base of a cloud and will bounce back, telling the cloud-based recorder how high the cloud is. But there is another way to see the clouds from above. High up in space, there are special cameras called satellites that look a little bit like this. Weather satellites take pictures of the clouds, and they'll send all of that information to dishes like this one. Using the information from the cloud-based recorders and the weather satellites, the people who work here and the supercomputer can figure out where the clouds are going and whether or not it's going to rain. And look, here are some pictures of clouds that the weather satellites are seeing from space. How incredible is that? Here at the Weather Centre, all of that information about clouds is used to create the weather forecast. And they're filming one right now.
And we can expect to see cloud and rain.
I loved finding out how clouds are made. What was your favourite bit? Can you remember what the clouds are called that look a bit like cotton wool? That's right, they're called cumulus clouds. Did you hear the whirring sound the fan made as it cooled the supercomputer down? And did you see the pictures of the clouds that the special satellite cameras took all the way from space? Sometimes, when it's raining and chilly outside, it's fun to do things inside where it's nice and warm, like jigsaw puzzles. Lots of houses are kept warm with these. Do you know what it's called? That's right, a radiator. A radiator helps to keep our home warm because it's full of warm water that travels around our house through pipes. Do you know how a radiator's made? Let's find out. How is it made?
Radiator.
To find out how radiators are made, I've come to a radiator factory. They make 6,000 radiators here every single day. That's a lot of radiators. They make lots of different types of radiators, but today we're making a white radiator with grooves. Radiators can be made from different types of metal, but our radiator is made from a metal called steel. Can you see that one piece of metal is being rolled underneath and another is rolled on top? It's a bit like a sandwich. The radiator we're making isn't flat, it needs grooves in it. Next, the metal goes through a really heavy press that chomps down and it bends the steel into that bumpy, groovy pattern. Look! Chomp and groove! Chomp and groove! Chomp and groove! The pressure when it chomps down is about 650 tons, and that's the same weight as 72 T-Rex dinosaurs. But even that much pressure isn't enough to stick the two panels of steel together, so they need to go to the spot welding machine. The copper tips are really hot. They melt the steel, and that glues them together. The radiator panels are stuck together. It's time for this machine to make the inside of the radiator. It sounds like a drumming band. This makes a part called the convector panel, and it goes in between the front and back radiator panels. It's like the radiator's sandwich filling. And look, the convector panels are being stuck to the radiator panels. The spot-welded radiator panels have to be sealed at the edges so all the water doesn't fall out. An electric current passes through the copper wheels to the steel, which welds them together because everything gets really, really hot. It melts the steel a little bit like glue. Look, you can see all the steam coming off. Another steamroller seals the two ends of the radiator panel. This is where the two panels, a front and a back, come together and will be connected with a pipe, and that's where the water will go in and out of our radiator. And that warm water is what heats up the radiators and our houses. Here one comes! That looks like a radiator, doesn't it? But next, it's going for a bath to be tested for leaks. Two robot arms plug into the connector pipe and they fill the radiators with air, and then they go for a dunk in the water. If there are any leaks, we should see lots of bubbles. All looks fine here. Next, the radiators are hung up on this long line. It's like a giant washing line for radiators. So let's watch where they go with my special camera. Look, can you see the radiator drying off? The droplets of water are dripping down the grooves. But where are they going next?
The radiators go to a huge tank to be painted.
Let's go see.
This tank is 25 metres long and the radiators will be in there for about a minute.
After that, they go into a big dryer.
I can really feel the heat, and now the first coat of paint is dry. Then they go into here where they're sprayed with a second coat of paint. It's called powder coating and it gives the radiators a lovely smooth finish. And here we have a finished radiator. Doesn't it look bright and shiny?
What did you like most about seeing how radiators are made? Can you remember the name of the metal that was used to make a radiator? That's right, steel. Did you hear the sound the press made when it made the convector panel? And did you see my special camera when it went for a ride on the radiator? So the next time you're cosy inside, you'll know how a radiator was made to keep us warm. And if it's raining outside and you see clouds in the sky, you'll know how they got there. I'll see you next time.